Marshals. Our first friend, Marshall, was first diagnosed with AIDS in 1982 and has since been a leading figure in efforts to improve the government's response to the epidemic. He currently performs nationally. He sings like an angel with the all-male a cappella group, The Flirtations, is the author of Surviving AIDS, You Better Stand Up, and welcome, Michael Callan.
Okay, I want to continue a tradition that I started when I speak publicly. I always like to acknowledge the contributions of women, and in particular lesbians, to the struggle against AIDS. I want to hear the gay men in the crowd make a very gay noise that says thank you. At this moment in our history, I think it's important to acknowledge how far we've come, to give ourselves some credit for our many hard-won victories. When I was young and living in the Midwest, I tried to commit suicide twice before I was 21 because I could not reconcile what I felt with what I was supposed to feel. I thought I was the only one. Today, a young boy or girl might well turn on the TV and see Phil Donahue chatting with proud, articulate lesbians and gays, or wandering through a Barnes & Noble, even in some shopping mall in the bowels of the conservative Midwest. A confused adolescent can slip away from her parents and secretly peruse the gay studies section. This is progress unimaginable in my adolescence. And we need to stop now and then and acknowledge how far we've come. I, and I suspect many others of you, literally owe my life to the many courageous activists who at tremendous risk stood up and said, no more, who asserted the radical concept that we were a people with a fundamental right to be the way we were. If they had not done what they did, if they had not had a dream, I would probably be dead. Sometimes it seems to me like the same 50 people are doing all of the work of gay liberation. Sadly, it also seems to me that each one of these 50 people hates the other. Gay rights activism, like its cousin AIDS activism, can be a brutal business. Our diversity is our strength, but it is also our weakness. Far too often, we spend more energy trashing each other than we do attacking our real enemies. We have not learned to disagree without being disagreeable to each other. 2 years ago, I made a difficult New Year's resolution, which I'd like to recommend to you all. Once a week, I make a point of acknowledging some fellow activists' good works, and I give myself extra points if I acknowledge the good works of an enemy. I'll send a postcard or I'll leave a message on an answering machine. If I'm feeling particularly devil-may-care, I may even tell them to their face. I let them know that something they said or did was good and ought to be acknowledged. Anger has its place. It's like adrenaline, like a sugar rush. In short, intense bursts, anger can get you through a crisis. But a lot of the pathology I observe in myself and others comes from adrenaline burnout. We must learn to pace ourselves. We're in this for the long haul, and anger cannot sustain activism over time. It sounds corny, but the only way activism for any cause can be sustained over time is if it comes from a loving place, from a belief in the essential goodness of most people, from a fundamental belief that people can change and the world can be a better place. To steal a phrase from a major oppressor and put a uniquely gay spin on it, we must learn to be kinder and gentler to each other. I urge you all to get involved in the messy business of gay liberation. Join NGLTF. Send a check to the Hedrick Martin Institute. Volunteer to help paint our community center. As AIDS literally decimates our ranks, often it seems taking our best and brightest, new generations of queers must take their place. Commit yourself to your own liberation beyond the mere once-a-year participation in this glorious parade, and be nicer to each other. The life you save may be your own. Thank you.
Michael Callan.